Hey, it's me, MLB. Here's chapter 5 of Chance Ball, and this one is titled Training. Here is just a polite warning before we start. There is a scene in this chapter that I've had to skip quite heavily over, but as you all know, the completed book without any of the scenes being chopped out can be found on my Quirky Fanfics website. The link is free from my Patreon. Patreon is the same name as here, MLB224 Fanfics. Free to join to get to the website to read the scenes that have been taken out. If you dare. That I should add that in, if you dare. Okay, so without further ado, let's keep going on the chapter. The next day after school, it was Darby's turn for volleyball practice. You posted up in the stands to watch his game, curious to see how he'd do, since the coach had put him on setting to help broaden his skills. His first few sets were terrible, and they were out of time. His spikers were having a hard time connecting with the ball. You could see he was getting visibly frustrated, and he called a timeout to chat to his teammates. As you leaned forwards to watch him talk, your eyes travelled his body from his broad shoulders to his tapered waist and well-set legs. Just the sight alone was enough to make you bite your lip in erotic desire. Oh, to drag my nails down that back, you groaned internally, suddenly getting a nosebleed. You slammed your hand over your nose and reached for a tissue in your bag to stem the flow. Darby glanced up at you, and upon seeing the tissue over your nose, smirked. His next lot of sets were much better, and he started to settle into the game, showing off with his footwork. He would occasionally shoot you a side glance to make sure you were still watching him, which you were, and noted with satisfaction that you couldn't take your eyes off him. As he started to sweat more, he lifted his shirt up to wipe his brow with it, giving you a clear view of his ripped abs and torso. He had a deliciously toned body, and your jaw dropped every time he did it. After practice, you made your way down to the main level to greet Darby. Hey, I'm going to stay back a bit to practice setting for Kuro here, he commented, nodding towards his teammate. Do you need someone to throw balls for you? You asked, hoping to be able to see Darby in action a little longer. Yeah, actually. Do you know someone who's good at handling balls? He asked mischievously, shooting you a sly smirk. Hey! Hold up! I'm not answering that, he replied with a playfully annoyed pout. Darby cackled and grabbed you into a sweaty hug. Yeah, give us a hand, would you? He asked as he leaned in and kissed you on the neck. Your eyelids fluttered as his hot lips met your cool skin, and your knees went weak. Damn it, body, stop giving in to him so easily. The extra practice went well, and Darby was in a stellar good mood because of it. Okay, let's call it a night, Kuro panted. I'm done, dude. Ugh, you're such a lightweight, Kuro. Darby gestured. I don't care what you call me, I'm done, he said, indicating for you to finish up. You put the ball down and started collecting all the other ones that were strewn across the opposite end of the court. As you worked, you could hear Kuro and Darby talking, and then you heard Kuro calling out a goodbye to you. You turned and waved. Darby walked over to you and helped pick up some balls. Has Kuro gone home? You asked, realising that you were now alone with Darby. The sun had set, and you were the only two left at school. Yeah, told him to go. We'll be fine cleaning and locking up by ourselves, he commented nonchalantly, not even stopping to look at you. You froze as you remembered what he had said yesterday. I'm going to take you in the equipment shed. You hurriedly covered your face. Oi, you thinking dirty thoughts again? Darby asked you suddenly, seeing that you had covered your face. Huh? What? You stammered, trying to cover up for your very obvious reaction. I know you're thinking about me before, Darby said with a smirk, sauntering over to you and walking you backwards up against the wall. Did you want to know how I feel inside you? He asked slowly, bending his head down and seductively tracing his tongue along the rim of your ear. You closed your eyes and sighed as he groaned softly and pressed himself into you. You're irresistible, he whispered breathlessly into your ear. Fearing that he was going to suddenly stop his ministries, you pushed him away sharply. You okay? He asked, surprised by your sudden rejection. You're only going to tease me again, you said, an angry, flustered look across your face. I can't take your teasing anymore, you added, almost under your breath as you pushed past him to take the balls back to the equipment shed. The cart rattled as you grabbed the handle and sped walked towards the equipment shed, yanking the door open and dragging the cart in behind you. You were about to let go of the cart and leave when a shadow fell across you from the double doors. Darby stepped inside, closing the doors behind him. Yin, I'm done teasing you. I don't want to play anymore, he said lowly, his sharp gaze rendering you speechless. So how was it? He asked, grinning seductively. So, he replied, mocking him. Yeah, right. I had you coming hard. He purred as he winked and kissed you lightly on the lips. You smirked, but then bit the inside of your cheek, remembering how you had called his name. He hopped off the mats and then bent down to pick up your undies and help you get them on before passing you your shirt. Don't get down till I'm done, he said commandingly, yet with worry laced in his voice. I'll help you when I'm done. He sorted himself out and then stood back up to help you off the mats. As he suspected, your legs buckled under you and he laughed. Told you I'd have you weak at the knees, he commented cheekily, eyes shining with pride. No, you didn't, you snorted. You said walking from side to side. Same thing, he shrugged. No, it's not, you retorted. Listen, he growled playfully. That mouth likes to talk a lot of crap. What do I have to do to shut it up? Kiss it, you demanded. He did. The next afternoon, after school, you went straight home. You had assignments that you needed to get on top of, and you were hoping that you could finish them quickly and maybe meet Darby once he had finished his volleyball training. So off you went, skipping happily home with Darby on your mind. Meanwhile, Darby had just finished up with volleyball practice when a familiar voice from his past came lilting through the gymnasium door. Hey, stranger, the provocative female voice sang. He froze. He didn't need to turn around to see who it was, he already knew. You've been ghosting my messages, the voice said, slightly irritated. So I'm here to talk to you in person. You should be honoured. Darby cringed. Oh, hey, Yasui, he said stiffly. Back from overseas, I see. She rolled her eyes and sauntered into the gym towards him, his classmates watching on curiously. She was wearing a very tight miniskirt and a low plunging top that left nothing to the imagination, her breasts practically spilling out over the top of the shirt. Not surprisingly, the others in his volleyball team were checking her out. He felt sick. So what do you want? He asked sharply, slightly irritated that she had actually come in to see him in person. You, she breathed. He scowled. Can't have me anymore, I'm taken, he said proudly. She threw her head back and cackled manically. As if that means anything. You've been taken before and we've still fooled around, she said in a spiteful tone as she did an over-dramatic air quotation mark around the word taken. Darby glanced around to his teammates that were all still listening in. Can you not talk so loudly? He growled at her. She grinned maliciously and waved her hand dismissively. Since when do you care about what others say or think of you? Since now, because I have a girlfriend. I'm straight down the line. He snarled angrily at her, clearly annoyed that she was being so bold with her statements. Can we talk elsewhere? Oh, yeah, I know what that's code for, she said as she winked and grabbed his wrist. Come on, let's do it behind the gym. We're not doing anything, he said, infuriated by her insinuations. Darby grabbed her arm and slammed her into the wall when they got outside, getting up in her face threateningly. Listen, yes, we've had our flings in the past, but I'm not interested in that anymore. I have a girl, and she's amazing, so leave me alone, he growled, gritting his teeth and hissing that last part of the sentence out coldly. Oh, baby, I like it rough, Yasui purred, leaning in to wrap her arms around Darby's neck. He tried to pull his arms off, but she refused to loosen her grip, and as she pulled him into her, he quickly placed his hands either side of her head against the wall to prevent her from pulling his face into hers. She giggled at his scowl. Let go of me, he snarled. Not until I get a kiss from my boyfriend, she sang. Boyfriend? Your broken voice asked. Darby's head snapped up the minute that he heard your voice. He peered into the dark, trying to locate your face. Yin, it's not what it looks like, he called out, desperately trying to break free. Yasui jumped at the opportunity to strike while he was distracted and grabbed his face, turning it sharply and pressing her lips against his. In response, Darby yanked backwards, pulling Yasui over and dumping her unceremoniously on the ground. As he stepped backwards, he looked around wildly, catching sight of you disappearing as he ran off. Wait, he called, sprinting after you. You weren't sure if it was just the fact that you needed a good run, or you were spurred on by the betrayal you felt, but you easily outsprinted Darby and headed for home, your heart throbbing in your chest. It wasn't until you got home that you collapsed, hot tears streaming down your face as you sobbed uncontrollably in your hallway. Moments later there came a pounding on your front door. Yin, please let me explain. You knew it was Darby. Get out of here, you screamed as more tears rolled down your cheeks. We're over, do you hear me? Through, don't even try and talk to me. Darby felt a sharp stab through his heart as your words rang out from the other side of the door, and he tried to open it but you'd locked it. Yin, please don't break up with me, please just let me explain, he said sadly, one arm resting across the doorframe as he flopped his forehead onto it. He could hear you crying on the other side, your sobs getting quieter as you walked off to your room. He called out again, but you didn't hear him. For the next 3 hours, Darby stayed on your doorstep, hoping beyond hope that you would come back and the two of you could talk things out. He tried texting you, he tried calling you, but you refused to acknowledge any of his attempts to contact you, so finally he gave a resigned sigh and begrudgingly got up, walking slowly home with hands in pockets, having heavy legs and an even heavier heart. You didn't go to school for the rest of that week. You felt sick, hoping that if you avoided Darby enough you could mentally wipe his very existence from your memory. On the Friday, you ventured out of your house for the first time since you saw Darby cheating on you and walked to the bubble tea shop that you and Darby used to go to frequently. A knot formed in your chest when you remembered all the fun times you'd had there. You squashed the feelings down and walked up to the counter to order your drink. Then, once ordered, you stood off to the side, idly flicking through Instagram while you waited. There was a group of girls nearby, and they were having a massive tea session, gossiping about anything and everything. "Hey, so Yasui, what happened the other night with Darby?" one girl asked her friend. You froze, your ears picking up on the familiar name. Oh, it is a tea session. Chapter 5 has just ended. Chapter 6 will be tomorrow. See you then.